The mind is like a factory. Whatever you feed it, it will produce. If you put in fear, doubt, and excuses, that's exactly what your life will reflect. But if you program it for success, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Every day, your mind is being programmed. Whether you realize it or not, the thoughts you think, the habits you repeat, the people you surround yourself with, they're all shaping the way you see the world, the way you respond to challenges, and ultimately the results you get in life. And here's the harsh truth. Most people have been programmed to stay exactly where they are. They wake up with the same doubts, make the same excuses, and repeat the same mistakes. They are stuck in a cycle, not because they lack potential, but because they've been conditioned to think small, to hesitate, to settle for less. But success has nothing to do with luck, and everything to do with mindset. If you want to change your life, you must change the way you think. You must rewire your brain, eliminate the patterns that hold you back, and install new beliefs that push you forward. You must brainwash yourself for success, not in the way the world might tell you, where you blindly follow trends or chase after quick results. No, I'm talking about a deliberate process of conditioning your mind for discipline, for action, for unstoppable progress. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. 5 powerful strategies to break free from old limitations and create a mindset that makes success inevitable. If you follow these steps, you will think differently, act differently, and most importantly, produce different results. This isn't about motivation, it's about transformation. So if you're ready to reprogram your mind for success and leave behind everything that's been holding you back, then stay with me. Because once you apply these principles, your life will never be the same again. Number 1, program yourself to take action immediately. Success belongs to those who move. It belongs to those who act, not to those who sit around thinking about what they should do. Every dream, every goal, every single thing you've ever wanted is waiting on the other side of action. But here's the truth. Most people don't want to face. Thinking about it won't get you there. Wishing for it won't change anything. The only thing that moves your life forward is action. The question is, how fast do you take action? How quickly do you go from an idea to execution? Because that one decision, how fast you act, determines everything. Most people hesitate. They overthink. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, the perfect level of confidence. And while they wait, opportunities slip away. Success moves on to someone else, someone who didn't wait, someone who acted. That's the difference between those who win and those who stay stuck. The winners, they don't let their brain talk them out of it. They don't sit there debating whether or not they should do it. They just move. They get up, they take the first step, and they figure it out along the way. Now the truth is, hesitation is a habit. And just like any habit, it can be broken. If you've spent your life hesitating, doubting, waiting, then your mind is wired to slow you down. But here's the good news. Your mind can be reprogrammed. You can train yourself to take action immediately, not tomorrow, not later, right now. And when you do that, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your results multiply. Your entire life takes a different direction because you're no longer sitting on the sidelines. You're in the game, making things happen. Think about this. How many times have you had a great idea, but you didn't act on it? How many times have you known exactly what you needed to do, but you talked yourself out of it? Maybe you were waiting for motivation. Maybe you were waiting for the fear to go away. Maybe you thought you needed more time to prepare. But what happened? That hesitation cost you. You missed out. You stayed stuck. And deep down, you knew you should have just done it. You should have just moved. That's why you have to train yourself to act before hesitation kicks in. The moment you know something needs to be done, move. Don't wait. Don't think about how hard it will be. Just move. Because the longer you wait, the louder the doubts become. Your mind will start coming up with all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. And before you know it, you've lost all momentum. That's how hesitation wins. That's how inaction becomes a lifestyle. The most successful people in the world don't hesitate. They don't overanalyze. They don't let fear hold them back. They act. They move fast. And because of that, they get more opportunities, more experience, and more success. The good news, you can do the same. You can train yourself to act immediately. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. It becomes your new normal, your new habit. And once you develop this habit, your entire life will change. So how do you do it? How do you program yourself to take action immediately? First, you eliminate the habit of waiting. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting to feel ready. Because the truth is, you'll never feel 100% ready. There will always be fear, always be doubt, always be uncertainty. But action is what destroys fear. Action is what builds confidence. Action is what makes the doubts disappear. The only way to be ready is to start before you feel ready. Second, you set a rule for yourself. When you know something needs to be done, you take action within 5 seconds. No exceptions, no thinking, no debating. 5 seconds. That's all you get. The moment you decide to do something, move. Stand up, pick up the phone, start writing. Take that first step, no matter how small, because once you move, the momentum will carry you forward. It's that hesitation in the beginning that stops most people. But if you eliminate that hesitation, you eliminate failure before it even starts. Third, you remove distractions. Distractions are one of the biggest killers of action. Your phone, social media, endless scrolling, it's all designed to keep you comfortable, to keep you entertained, to keep you distracted from what really matters. If you want to train your mind for action, you need to cut out the noise, turn off the notifications, create an environment where it's easy to take action and hard to waste time. Because the fewer distractions you have, the more action you'll take. Fourth, you act like the person you want to become. If you see yourself as someone who hesitates, who procrastinates, who doesn't take action, then that's exactly how you'll behave. But if you start seeing yourself as someone who moves, who executes, who gets things done, then that's who you'll become. It's all about identity. You must become the kind of person who takes action without hesitation. When you believe that about yourself, your actions will follow. And finally, you build momentum. Action leads to more action. The more you move, the easier it becomes. The first time you push yourself to act immediately, it will feel uncomfortable. The second time, it will still be a little difficult. But the third, the fourth, the fifth time, it starts to feel natural. And before you know it, you've rewired your brain. You've trained yourself to act without thinking. You've made it a part of who you are. When you do this, everything in your life changes. You start getting results. You start making progress. You start feeling unstoppable. Because you're no longer waiting, you're taking control. And that's the key to success. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about action. The people who move win. The people who hesitate lose. It's that simple. So from this moment forward, make a decision. No more hesitation. No more waiting. No more thinking about it. When you know something needs to be done, do it. Immediately. No exceptions. No excuses. Train yourself to act, and you will become unstoppable. Number 2, make hard work your default setting. There is a reason why some people rise to the top while others stay stuck in the same place for years. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not some secret formula that only a few people have access to. It's hard work, but not just any kind of hard work. The kind that becomes automatic. The kind that becomes a way of life. The kind that becomes your default setting. Because once hard work is wired into your system, success is no longer a matter of if, but when. Most people don't have this mindset. They work hard only when they feel like it, when they're motivated, when the conditions are just right. And that's why they struggle. Because motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel like putting in the effort. Other days you won't. And if you only work hard on the days you feel like it, you'll never build the kind of consistency needed for real success. That's why you have to train yourself to work hard, no matter what. No matter how you feel, no matter how tired you are. No matter if no one is watching, no one is clapping, no one is cheering you on. Hard work has to become who you are, not something you occasionally do. Think about the most successful people in any field. The athletes, the business leaders, the innovators. They don't just work hard when they feel like it. They work hard every single day. They show up whether they're in the mood or not. They put in the effort when no one is there to see it. They push themselves beyond what's comfortable, because they know that's what it takes. And the crazy part, most of them aren't more talented than you. They weren't born with some special advantage that you don't have. The only difference is that they decided to make hard work their default. That's the decision you have to make. You can't wait for motivation. You can't wait for the perfect conditions. You have to train your mind to work hard, as if it's second nature. And the only way to do that is to start now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now you have to force yourself to put in the effort, day after day, until it stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like a habit. Because once it becomes a habit, everything gets easier. You don't have to think about whether or not to put in the work. You just do it. Like brushing your teeth, like driving a car. It becomes automatic. At first, it's going to feel unnatural. If you're used to only working hard when you feel like it, your mind is going to resist. It's going to tell you to slow down, to take a break, to do it later. But that's the voice you have to ignore. Because every time you push through that resistance, you rewire your brain. You prove to yourself that you don't need to feel like working hard to actually do it. And once you build that kind of discipline, nothing can stop you. But here's where most people go wrong. They think working hard means just putting in long hours. That's not it. It's not about how long you work. It's about how intensely you work. You can sit at a desk for 10 hours and accomplish nothing. Or you can put in 3 focused hours and get more done than most people do in a day. That's the kind of hard work that matters. The kind where you're fully locked in, no distractions, no excuses, just pure effort. If you want to make hard work your default setting, you have to eliminate the mindset that says, I'll do it later. Later is the enemy. Later is the reason most people never achieve anything. Later is the excuse that keeps you in the same place while others pass you by. The moment you decide that hard work is not optional, that it's just what you do, you stop making excuses. You stop negotiating with yourself. You just get it done. This is where the biggest mental shift happens. When most people hear the word hard work, they think of struggle. They think of exhaustion. They think of something they have to force themselves to do. But the people who succeed don't see it that way. They don't dread the hard work. They embrace it. They see it as the thing that separates them from everyone else. They know that every extra hour they put in, every sacrifice they make, every bit of effort that others aren't willing to give, is what gives them the edge. That's why the best in the world don't complain about the work. They love it. They live for it. Because they understand that the work is what leads to the rewards. You can't have the success without the effort. You can't have the results without the struggle. And the sooner you make peace with that, the sooner you'll start seeing real progress. Most people waste so much time trying to find an easier way. They look for shortcuts. They chase quick fixes. They hope for some magic trick that will let them succeed without putting in the work. But the people who actually make it, they don't waste time looking for an easier way. They just do the work, day in, day out, without overthinking it. And that's why they win. This is what separates the top 1% from everyone else. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's their work ethic. They don't take days off from their goals. They don't sit around waiting to feel motivated. They move. They execute. They grind when others rest. And because of that, they get results that most people only dream about. So the question is, what are you waiting for? Are you still looking for the easy way? Are you still waiting for the perfect moment to start? Because if you are, you need to stop right now. There is no easy way. There is no perfect moment. The only thing that will take you where you want to go is hard work, done consistently, until it becomes your normal way of operating. From this moment on, make a decision. No more half effort. No more waiting for motivation. No more taking it easy when no one is watching. If you say you want success, prove it. Show up every day. Do the work when it's hard. Push through when you don't feel like it. Because once hard work becomes your default setting, nothing can stop you. You won't have to chase success. It will come to you. Number 3, turn every challenge into a mental workout. Life is never going to hand you success on a silver platter. It's not going to roll out the red carpet and say, here you go, everything you've ever wanted. No, life is going to test you. It's going to throw obstacles in your path. It's going to make things difficult, frustrating, and exhausting. And most people, they see challenges as roadblocks. They let problems stop them in their tracks. They complain, they make excuses, and they wait for things to get easier. But the people who truly succeed, they don't see challenges as something to avoid. They see them as an opportunity. They turn every challenge into a mental workout, a chance to get stronger, sharper, and more prepared for the next level of success. The truth is, your mind is like a muscle. The more you push it, the stronger it gets. But if you avoid difficulty, if you back down every time something gets hard, your mind stays weak, and a weak mind will never lead you to a strong life. That's why you have to start looking at every challenge as a training session for your mind. Every struggle is a chance to develop discipline. Every setback is a lesson. Every difficult situation is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Most people want success, but they don't want the challenges that come with it. They want to win, but they don't want to struggle. They want to be strong, but they don't want to go through the process that builds strength. And that's why they stay stuck. They spend their lives avoiding the very things that would make them better. But if you ever want to break through, if you ever want to reach that next level, you have to start thinking differently. You have to start welcoming the struggle instead of running from it. The next time you face a challenge, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, ask, what is this teaching me? When things go wrong, don't complain. Don't make excuses. Don't look for a way out. Look for a way through. Because every challenge is a test. And if you pass the test, you get stronger. If you fail the test, you get another chance to learn and grow. Either way, you win, if you have the right mindset. But here's where most people go wrong. They don't train their minds to see challenges as a workout. They train their minds to see challenges as a threat. And that's why they panic when things go wrong. That's why they break down instead of breaking through. That's why they quit when things get tough. Because they've conditioned themselves to believe that difficulty is a bad thing. But the truth is, difficulty is your best friend. It's the thing that forces you to grow. It's the thing that separates the weak from the strong. It's the thing that prepares you for bigger opportunities. Think about the people who succeed at the highest level. The athletes, the business leaders, the top performers in every field. They don't just deal with challenges. They embrace them. They understand that struggle is what sharpens them. They know that every obstacle is making them better, smarter, and tougher. And that's why they don't break under pressure. They rise under pressure. They perform their best when things are the hardest, because they've trained for it. They've built a mind that doesn't crack under stress. That's the kind of mindset you need to develop. You have to stop fearing challenges and start using them. When something goes wrong, see it as a test of your patience. When you face rejection, see it as a test of your resilience. When you feel like quitting, see it as a test of your determination. Every single challenge is a chance to build a stronger mind, but only if you choose to see it that way. This shift in thinking changes everything. Because once you start looking at life as a mental workout, you stop getting discouraged when things go wrong. You stop feeling overwhelmed by problems. You stop letting small setbacks ruin your momentum. Instead, you start getting excited about challenges. You start looking forward to difficulty because you know it's making you better. You start pushing yourself harder because you realize that every bit of effort is building something inside you that no one can take away. Most people go through life avoiding stress, avoiding discomfort, avoiding anything that pushes them out of their comfort zone. And that's why they never grow. That's why they never reach their full potential. Because growth only happens when you're challenged. Strength only comes from resistance. If you avoid struggle, you avoid progress. That's why you have to start training your mind the way athletes train their bodies. Athletes don't get stronger by lifting easy weights. They get stronger by pushing their limits. They get stronger by adding more resistance, by increasing the difficulty, by forcing their bodies to adapt. And that's exactly how your mind works. If you want to be mentally strong, you have to expose yourself to difficulty. You have to push through frustration. You have to get comfortable with discomfort. Because every time you do, your mind gets tougher. Your confidence grows. Your ability to handle pressure improves. And before you know it, the things that used to feel impossible now feel easy. But here's the catch. You have to be consistent. You can't train your mind once and expect to be mentally strong forever. Just like muscles weaken if you stop working out, your mind weakens if you stop pushing it. That's why you have to challenge yourself every single day. You have to look for ways to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to put yourself in situations that force you to grow. Because the moment you stop challenging yourself, you start going backward. This is the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. The ones who succeed don't wait for life to test them. They test themselves. They take on challenges voluntarily. They put themselves in difficult situations on purpose. They train themselves to thrive under pressure. So when real challenges come, they're already prepared. Most people avoid struggle. The successful ones chase it. And that's why the gap between the two groups gets bigger and bigger. The ones who avoid struggle get weaker over time. The ones who embrace struggle get stronger. And in the end, strength wins. Mental toughness wins. Resilience wins. So ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? Someone who backs down every time things get hard. Someone who crumbles under pressure. Or someone who gets stronger with every challenge. Someone who sees obstacles as a dead end. Or someone who sees them as a stepping stone to something greater. The choice is yours. But if you truly want success, if you want to separate yourself from the crowd, you have to start today. You have to start seeing every challenge as an opportunity. You have to start training your mind like an athlete trains their body. And you have to commit to pushing yourself every single day, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Because once you make that shift, once you start using every challenge as a mental workout, nothing can stop you. Number 4, use repetition to cement winning habits. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's not something you wake up one day and suddenly have. It's built day by day through what you repeatedly do. And most people don't understand this. They think motivation is enough. They believe that if they just feel inspired, they'll take action. But inspiration fades. Motivation wears off. And if you're relying on a feeling to push you forward, you'll never be consistent enough to succeed. The truth is, what separates winners from everyone else isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's repetition. It's doing the right things over and over until they become second nature. It's cementing winning habits into your life so deeply that they become automatic. Most people try something once or twice and then give up when they don't see results. They start working out but stop after a few weeks because they're not seeing a six-pack. They begin reading, journaling, or waking up early, but quit because it feels uncomfortable. They don't understand that repetition is the key to making something stick. Anything new is going to feel awkward at first. It's going to feel unnatural. But that's not a sign to quit. That's a sign that you need more reps. Just like a muscle doesn't grow after one workout, a habit doesn't stick after one attempt. It needs to be repeated, reinforced, and ingrained into your daily life. Think about the habits you have right now. The way you brush your teeth, the way you tie your shoes, the way you check your phone without even thinking. None of these things required motivation. You don't have to remind yourself to do them. You don't struggle to get them done. Why? Because you've done them so many times, they're automatic. And that's exactly how success habits need to be built. Through repetition, through daily practice, through showing up again and again until it no longer takes effort. Most people wait until they feel like doing something. They wait until it's convenient. But the truth is, if you wait until you feel like it, you'll never do it consistently. Discipline isn't built on feelings. It's built on repetition. The first time you do something, it's hard. The second time, it's still hard. But by the 10th, 20th, 100th time, it starts to feel normal. It becomes part of who you are. And that's when success becomes effortless. Not because it's easy, but because it's ingrained. The problem is, people look at successful individuals and think they were just born that way. They assume they have some special ability that makes them different. But if you study any high achiever, you'll find the same thing: repetition. The best athletes don't train once in a while. They practice daily, repeating the same drills until they master them. The best speakers didn't start out confident. They practiced speaking over and over until they became natural. The best business minds didn't just get lucky. They built systems, tested ideas, and repeated their strategies until they figured out what worked. Success isn't magic, it's repetition. Repetition does something powerful to your brain. It strengthens neural pathways, making actions easier over time. At first, a new habit feels like carving a path through thick jungle. It's slow, frustrating, and requires a lot of effort. But each time you do it, the path becomes clearer, smoother, easier to walk. Eventually, it's a paved road, and you can move effortlessly. That's the power of repetition. It rewires your brain so that success isn't something you have to force. It's something you naturally do. Most people don't have success habits because they never repeat them long enough to stick. They get excited about a new goal, try it for a while, then stop when the excitement wears off. And that's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The successful keep going, even when it's boring, even when they don't feel like it, even when they're not seeing immediate results. They understand that consistency is what separates the best from the rest. If you want to change your life, you don't need to make massive dramatic changes overnight. You just need to start repeating the right things every day. Small habits, done consistently, will transform you over time. Wake up at the same time every morning. Exercise daily, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Read something that challenges your mind. Write down your goals. Show up, do the work, and repeat. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. This is how success is built, not through bursts of motivation, but through daily habits, not through one-time effort, but through repetition. Most people never commit to this, because it's not exciting, it's not glamorous, but this is what wins in the long run. The people who reach their goals aren't the most talented, the smartest, or the luckiest. They're the ones who show up and do the work, day in and day out, no matter what. Repetition builds momentum. At first it's hard, but over time it gets easier, it gets faster, it compounds. And eventually you look back and realize how far you've come. That's how change happens. That's how success is created, by doing the right things, again and again, until they become part of who you are. Number 5, detach from people who drain you. Your environment is shaping you every single day. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, and the energy you absorb, it all influences your mindset, your actions, and ultimately your future. And if you're serious about success, you need to start paying attention to the people around you, because not everyone deserves access to your time, your energy, or your mind. Some people are adding to your growth, while others are holding you back. Some people inspire you to be better, while others drain the life out of you. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years stuck in the same place, wondering why nothing is changing, when the real problem is the people you refuse to let go of. Most people don't realize how much their environment is controlling them. They think they're making their own decisions, but they're really just absorbing the habits, attitudes, and beliefs of the people they spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by negativity, you're going to think negative. If you're surrounded by laziness, you're going to feel unmotivated. If you're surrounded by small-minded people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses too. It happens without you even realizing it. That's why you have to be intentional about who you allow into your life. You have to be willing to detach from those who are draining you, those who are distracting you, and those who are keeping you from becoming the person you were meant to be. It's not easy to walk away from people, especially when they've been in your life for a long time, especially when you care about them. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Not everyone is meant to grow with you. And if you try to hold on to people who are dragging you down, you're going to end up stuck in the same place, year after year, wondering why you're not making progress. You have to make a decision. Do you want to fit in, or do you want to grow? Do you want to stay comfortable, or do you want to evolve? Because you can't do both. You can't elevate your life while keeping the same toxic relationships. You can't become your best self while surrounding yourself with people who don't want to see you win. Look at the people in your life right now, who inspires you, who challenges you to be better, who supports your dreams. And now ask yourself, who drains your energy, who fills your mind with doubt, who makes you feel small? These are the people you need to detach from. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to explain yourself. You simply create distance. You stop engaging in conversations that bring you down. You stop making yourself available to people who don't respect your time. You stop trying to save people who don't want to be saved. Some people are addicted to negativity. They live in a cycle of complaining, blaming, and making excuses. And if you're not careful, they'll pull you into that cycle too. Every time you try to talk about your goals, they'll tell you why it won't work. Every time you try to improve yourself, they'll make fun of you. Every time you take a step forward, they'll try to remind you of who you used to be. And it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's subtle. A sarcastic comment here, a discouraging remark there, a look that makes you second guess yourself. But over time, it adds up. It wears you down, It makes you question yourself. And if you let it continue, you'll start shrinking. You'll start doubting. You'll stop pushing yourself because the people around you don't believe in you. You can't afford that. You can't afford to let other people's doubts become your reality. You can't afford to keep people in your life just because of history. If someone is draining you, if someone is keeping you stuck, you owe it to yourself to walk away. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Because the truth is, if you don't make this decision, life will make it for you. You'll either choose to separate yourself from the wrong people now, or you'll be forced to do it later when the damage is already done. Success requires energy. It requires focus. It requires a strong mindset. And you can't build that if you're constantly surrounded by people who are draining you. You need to be around people who push you, who challenge you, who make you think bigger. You need to be around people who bring out the best in you, not the worst. You need to protect your energy, like your future depends on it, because it does. Detaching from people doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you think you're better than them. It simply means you're choosing yourself. You're choosing your growth. You're choosing to put yourself in an environment that supports your success, not one that suffocates it. And yes, it might be uncomfortable at first. It might feel lonely, but that's temporary. Because when you create space in your life, you make room for better people. When you let go of toxic relationships, you attract healthier ones. When you stop entertaining negativity, you open the door to positivity. You don't need 100 people in your circle. You just need the right ones. You just need a few people who believe in you, who uplift you, who want to see you win. And if you don't have those people yet, that's okay. Focus on becoming the kind of person who attracts them. Work on yourself. Elevate your mindset. Set higher standards for the people you allow into your life. And before you know it, you'll start finding people who align with your growth. Your environment is everything. The people you surround yourself with will either fuel your success or drain it. And at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to protect your energy, to choose your circle wisely, and to make sure that the people in your life are helping you become the best version of yourself. If they're not, it's time to let go. It's time to detach. It's time to step into a new level of growth, even if it means walking away from the people who don't want to grow with you. Number 6, set clear, unbreakable standards for yourself. The life you live is a direct reflection of the standards you set for yourself. Everything you have right now, every result, every success, every failure, it all comes down to what you've decided to accept as your reality. If you don't like where you are, if you don't like the way things are going, it's not because the world is against you, and it's not because life is unfair. It's because you've tolerated things that don't align with the life you truly want. You've let certain habits slide. You've let certain people stay, and you've accepted things that deep down you know are beneath you. That's the hard truth. And the only way to change your life is to set standards so clear, so unbreakable, that they force you to level up in every single way. Most people don't set real standards for themselves. They have wishes, they have dreams, they have vague ideas of what they want, but they don't have solid, non-negotiable rules for their own life. They tell themselves they want success, but they accept procrastination. They say they want to be disciplined, but they keep making excuses. They say they want to be surrounded by winners, but they tolerate toxic relationships, and they wonder why nothing is changing. The reason is simple. The standards they set are weak, flexible, and easy to break. If you don't enforce your own standards, nobody else will. If you don't demand more from yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. You get what you tolerate. And if you tolerate laziness, if you tolerate distraction, if you tolerate mediocrity, that's exactly what your life will reflect. You have to decide, right now, what you will no longer accept from yourself. You have to draw the line. You have to say, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. And anything that doesn't align with this is not welcome in my life. That means no more half effort. No more showing up inconsistently. No more saying you'll do something and then letting yourself off the hook. If you set a standard, you keep it. No matter how tired you are. No matter how difficult it gets. No matter how tempting it is to go back to your old ways. Because the moment you let yourself break your own standards, even once, you open the door for excuses. You give yourself permission to slack off. And before you know it, you're back to where you started, wondering why you're not making progress. Your standards should make you uncomfortable. They should stretch you. They should require you to become someone better, someone stronger, someone more disciplined. If your standards are easy to maintain, they're too low. If they don't challenge you, they're not high enough. The best version of you is not going to emerge from comfort. It's going to come from pushing yourself to uphold a level of excellence that most people will never reach. That's why success is rare. That's why discipline is rare. Because most people aren't willing to hold themselves to an unbreakable standard. Most people are okay with good enough. But good enough never built an extraordinary life. Look at the areas of your life where you know you've been slipping. Be honest with yourself. Are you really giving your best effort? Are you really showing up with full commitment? Or are you allowing yourself to get away with average? If your answer is anything less than 100%, it's time to raise the bar. It's time to stop negotiating with yourself. It's time to stop making deals with your own laziness. You don't get to choose when to be disciplined. You don't get to choose when to work hard. If you've set a standard, it applies all the time. No exceptions, no excuses. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you elevate your life. The key to setting unbreakable standards is to stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you'll feel like pushing yourself, and some days you won't. If your standards depend on how you feel, you'll never be consistent. You have to decide that no matter what, you follow through. No matter what, you uphold your values. No matter what, you stick to your commitments. That's the difference between winners and everyone else. Winners don't operate on feelings. They operate on standards, and because of that, they win. Not once in a while, not when it's convenient, but all the time, because their standards don't change. If you want a higher quality of life, if you want real success, you have to make your standards non-negotiable. That means setting clear rules for how you operate. That means defining exactly what is acceptable and what is not. And it means holding yourself accountable, even when no one is watching. You don't cut corners. You don't take the easy way out. You don't break your own promises. Because the second you start letting yourself off the hook, you lose power over your own life. But when you commit fully, when you refuse to drop your standards for anyone or anything, you gain a level of control and confidence that most people will never experience. You are not like everyone else. You don't settle for average. You don't make excuses. You don't lower your standards to make life easier. You raise your standards to make yourself stronger. And when you do that, everything in your life starts to change. The way you work, the way you think, the way you show up every single day. You start attracting better opportunities. You start seeing better results. And most importantly, you start becoming the person you were always meant to be. But it all starts with a decision. A decision to stop accepting anything less than your absolute best. A decision to make your standards so strong, so clear, and so unbreakable that nothing, not laziness, not distractions, not doubt, can shake them. Your future depends on this. The life you want, the success you crave, the goals you've set, they will only become reality if you are willing to raise your standards and never ever lower them. So starting today, right now, set the bar higher. Demand more from yourself and refuse to accept anything less. Because the second you do that, the second you commit to living by unbreakable standards, your entire life will change, and nothing will be able to stop you. Number 7, upgrade your mental diet. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but most people never take control of it. They feed it junk, they let negativity in, they allow distractions to take over, and then they wonder why they feel lost, unmotivated, or stuck. What you put into your mind is exactly what you get out. If you want to upgrade your life, if you want to elevate your results, if you want to become unstoppable, you have to upgrade your mental diet. Because just like your body reflects the food you eat, your mind reflects the information you consume. Every single day, you are feeding your mind something. The question is, what is it? Are you feeding it success, discipline, growth, and wisdom? Or are you feeding it negativity, doubt, fear, and distractions? Most people don't even realize how much garbage they're allowing into their minds. They wake up, and the first thing they do is check social media, flooding their brains with meaningless content, drama, and comparison. They spend hours watching things that add no value to their lives, listening to people who are just as lost as they are, consuming news that keeps them in a constant state of fear and anxiety. And then they wonder why they don't feel motivated, why they can't focus, why they don't have the energy to chase their goals. It's because their mind is full of junk. If you want to change the way you think, if you want to sharpen your focus, if you want to become the kind of person who wins, you need to take control of what you allow into your mind. You need to be as strict with your mental diet as you would be with your physical diet. If you were training for a competition, you wouldn't eat fast food all day and expect to be in the best shape of your life. So why do you think you can fill your mind with garbage and still expect to perform at a high level? You need to start feeding your mind with content that strengthens you, that sharpens you, that pushes you to grow. That means replacing mindless entertainment with knowledge. That means replacing gossip with wisdom. That means replacing distractions with focus. Every single thing you consume is either making you better or making you weaker. There is no in between. Start by cutting out the biggest sources of mental junk. If you're spending hours scrolling through social media, mindlessly watching videos, or filling your head with negativity, stop. It's draining you. It's keeping you stuck. It's stealing your energy and your focus. The people who are winning in life are not spending their time lost in distractions. They are learning. They are growing. They are feeding their minds with information that makes them better. They listen to audiobooks. They study the habits of successful people. They consume content that expands their thinking. They don't waste time on things that don't serve their goals. And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to create an environment that forces you to grow. That means surrounding yourself with ideas that challenge you. That means reading books that expand your mindset. That means listening to mentors, even if you've never met them in person. Some of the greatest minds in history have left their knowledge behind in books, speeches, and interviews. And yet most people never take advantage of it. Instead, they spend their time watching people who have nothing to teach them, following influencers who add no real value to their lives, and listening to opinions that only fill them with doubt. Stop letting the wrong voices take up space in your mind. Fill your mind with content that strengthens your beliefs, that raises your standards, that pushes you to think bigger. It's not just about what you consume. It's also about who you surround yourself with. Because the people around you are a part of your mental diet too. If you're always around negativity, if you're constantly hearing complaints, if you're always absorbing doubt and fear from the people closest to you, it's going to affect your thinking. You cannot expect to build a powerful mindset while surrounding yourself with people who think small. Their words, their energy, their perspective, it all gets into your mind. You have to be ruthless about protecting your mental space. That doesn't mean cutting people off completely, but it does mean being selective about who you listen to, who you take advice from, and who you allow to influence your thoughts. Upgrading your mental diet is not a one-time thing. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment. It's deciding every single day that you will only consume what makes you better. It's choosing to turn off the noise and focus on what actually moves you forward. It's making sure that every piece of information you take in is aligned with your goals. Because everything you put into your mind is shaping your future. And if you don't control it, someone else will. Companies, media, influencers, marketers, they are all fighting for your attention. They want to control what you think, how you feel, and what you believe. And if you're not careful, they will fill your mind with whatever benefits them, not you. You have to take back control. You have to decide what you allow in. Because once you do that, everything changes. Imagine what your life would look like if for the next 6 months you completely upgraded your mental diet. If you stopped feeding your mind with negativity and replaced it with discipline and growth. If you stopped wasting time on distractions and started studying success. If you filled your mind with the knowledge, the mindset, and the strategies of the most successful people in the world, your confidence would skyrocket. Your focus would sharpen. Your motivation would be unstoppable. You would start thinking bigger, moving faster, and making better decisions. You would separate yourself from the average, not because you're any different, but because you made the choice to control what goes into your mind. You have the power to reprogram your thinking. You have the power to build a mindset that is bulletproof. But it starts with a decision to upgrade your mental diet, to be intentional about what you consume, to take full control of what influences your mind. Because once you do that, nothing will be able to stop you. Number 8. Make success your only option. Most people fail before they even start because they give themselves an escape route. They set a goal. But in the back of their mind, they're thinking, if this doesn't work, I can always go back to what I was doing before. That kind of thinking is the reason why they never make it. Success is not something you stumble into. It's not something that happens when the conditions are perfect. It's not something you achieve by hoping, wishing, or trying when you feel like it. Success happens when you decide that there is no other option. When you burn the boats. When you eliminate the possibility of failure, not by avoiding challenges, but by refusing to quit when things get hard. The problem with most people is they are too comfortable with failure. They treat it like it's no big deal. They give themselves permission to give up when things don't go their way. And that's why they stay stuck. That's why year after year, they are in the same place, making the same excuses, talking about what they could have done if things were different. But the truth is, things will never be perfect. There will never be a moment where everything aligns in your favor. You will always have obstacles. You will always have setbacks. You will always have moments where you feel like quitting. And in those moments, your mindset will determine everything. If you've already given yourself an exit plan, you will take it. But if you've decided that success is your only option, you will keep going. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you will get back up and you will keep moving forward. Success is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about commitment. It's about making the decision that you will not stop until you get what you want. It's about telling yourself that there is no plan B, because when you give yourself no other choice, you force yourself to level up. You force yourself to grow. You force yourself to find a way. And that's what separates the ones who win from the ones who quit. The ones who win are not the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. They are simply the ones who refuse to accept failure as an option. If you look at anyone who has ever achieved anything great, you will see one thing in common. They never gave themselves an easy way out. They didn't wait for the right moment. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They didn't let fear, doubt, or setbacks stop them. They decided that success was the only outcome they would accept. And because of that, they found a way. They adjusted. They adapted. They learned. They worked harder, smarter, and longer than everyone else. Not because they were special, but because they had no other choice. You have to stop playing it safe. You have to stop holding back. You have to stop thinking that you have time to waste. You don't. Every day you hesitate. Every day you procrastinate. Every day you let fear stop you. You are pushing your success further away. And one day you're going to wake up and realize that you wasted years making excuses instead of making progress. The most dangerous mindset you can have is thinking that you can always try again later, thinking that you have unlimited chances, thinking that success is something you can chase when you feel like it. Because the truth is, every moment you waste is a moment you will never get back. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more you hesitate, the more you train yourself to accept mediocrity. The more you allow fear to control you, the weaker you become. And before you know it, you've built a habit of quitting, a habit of giving up, a habit of settling for less than you're capable of. You need to make success your only option. You need to make a decision right now that you will not stop until you get what you want. You need to tell yourself that quitting is not an option, that failure is not an option, that going back to your old life is not an option. When you think like that, everything changes. You move differently. You work differently. You push yourself harder. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. You stop wasting time and start making progress. You stop doubting yourself and start betting on yourself. And yes, it will be hard. Yes, there will be moments where you want to give up. Yes, you will have days where you feel exhausted, discouraged, and unsure if you can keep going. But in those moments, you have to remind yourself why you started. You have to remind yourself that the pain of pushing forward is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. You have to remind yourself that every challenge, every setback, every struggle is part of the process. That every time you refuse to quit, you are getting stronger. That every time you push through, you are proving to yourself that you are built for this. Most people quit when it gets hard. They walk away when things don't go their way. They settle for a life that is comfortable but unfulfilling. And that's why most people never reach their full potential. But that doesn't have to be you. You can be different. You can be the one who refuses to give up. You can be the one who keeps going when everyone else quits. You can be the one who makes success your only option and refuses to settle for anything less. The choice is yours. You can keep making excuses, keep waiting for the right moment, keep allowing fear to control you. Or you can decide, right now, that you will not stop until you get what you want. That you will do whatever it takes, for as long as it takes, that you will not give yourself an escape route. Because once you remove the option to quit, success is inevitable. Number 9, get addicted to progress, not comfort. Comfort is a silent killer. It doesn't show up in dramatic ways. It doesn't announce itself with warning signs. It creeps in slowly, making you feel safe, making you feel like you're doing just fine, while it quietly steals your potential. The moment you start choosing comfort over progress, you start losing. You stop pushing yourself. You stop growing. You stop chasing the life you once said you wanted. And before you even realize it, you've settled into routines that don't challenge you. Settled into habits that keep you stagnant. Settled into a mindset that tells you, this is good enough. But is it? Is that really what you wanted? Is that really what you worked for? The reason most people never become successful isn't because they aren't capable. It's because they got too comfortable. They stopped striving for more. They stopped demanding better from themselves. They let their desire for ease outweigh their hunger for greatness. And that's the trap. The moment you start prioritizing comfort, you stop prioritizing progress. Because real progress doesn't feel good all the time. It doesn't come easy. It's uncomfortable. It's exhausting. It pushes you to the edge. It makes you question whether you even have what it takes. And that's why so many people choose to avoid it. Because comfort is easier. It's predictable. It doesn't ask anything from you. But it also doesn't give you anything in return. If you want to succeed, you have to shift what you crave. You have to stop chasing comfort and start chasing progress. You have to get addicted to the process of becoming better. Addicted to the challenge. Addicted to the struggle that forces you to grow. Because the truth is, the people who go the farthest, the people who achieve the most, are the ones who fall in love with the work. They don't just love winning. They love what it takes to win. They love the grind, the late nights, the early mornings, the discipline, the repetition, the setbacks, the breakthroughs. They don't avoid the pain of growth. They seek it. They live for it. Because they know that on the other side of discomfort is everything they've ever wanted. Look around at your life right now. Be honest with yourself. Have you been prioritizing comfort over progress? Have you been avoiding the hard things because they feel like too much? Have you been settling for good enough because pushing for more seems exhausting? If the answer is yes, then you already know why you're stuck. You already know why you're not where you want to be. The solution isn't complicated. It's simple. Stop choosing easy. Stop backing down from challenges. Stop avoiding the work that needs to be done. Decide right now that progress matters more than your temporary comfort. And understand this. Progress isn't always obvious. It's not always a big dramatic change overnight. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. But if you stay consistent, if you keep showing up, if you keep pushing forward, eventually, everything shifts. Suddenly you wake up one day and realize you've leveled up. You think differently. You move differently. You operate at a higher standard. And that's when you see it. Every bit of discomfort was worth it. Every moment of doubt, every struggle, every sacrifice. It all led you here, to a life you once only dreamed about. But none of that happens if you keep choosing comfort. None of that happens if you keep doing what's easy. Nothing changes if you don't force yourself to change. The only way out of your current reality is through discomfort, through discipline, through doing the things you don't feel like doing. And once you accept that, once you embrace that, nothing can stop you. Because most people will never develop that mindset. Most people will always take the easy route. but not you. Not anymore. From this moment forward, you make a decision. You decide that growth matters more than comfort, that your future is more important than your feelings, that progress is the only thing worth chasing. And here's the best part. When you truly commit to progress, it stops feeling like a burden. It stops feeling like a chore. It becomes who you are. You start craving the challenge. You start loving the process. You start thriving in discomfort because you know it's making you better. You know it's separating you from the rest. And that's when you become unstoppable. That's when nothing and no one can hold you back. So make the choice today, right now. Get addicted to progress. Get addicted to becoming the best version of yourself. And never ever settle for a life of comfort when you were meant for so much more. Number 10. Commit to mastery. Not just effort. Effort is not enough. If effort was all it took to succeed, then everybody working hard would be at the top. But that's not how it works. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards mastery. It rewards those who refuse to settle for average. It rewards the people who don't just work hard, but work with precision, strategy, and a relentless commitment to being the best at what they do. And that's the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who spend their entire lives trying, but never quite making it. The difference is mastery. Most people put in the effort. They show up. They do the work, but they never commit to mastery. They never push beyond good enough. They never demand excellence from themselves. And because of that, they stay stuck. They stay in the same place year after year, wondering why they aren't seeing results, wondering why things aren't changing, wondering why their effort isn't paying off. But the truth is, effort without mastery is like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. Mastery means you don't just practice, you perfect. You don't just work, you refine. You don't just do something, you study it, analyze it, break it down, rebuild it, and do it better the next time. You treat your craft, your goals, your work like an art form, and you refuse to accept anything less than your absolute best. The reason so many people fail to reach the top is because they assume working hard is enough, but it's not. Hard work is the baseline. It's the entry fee. If you're not working hard, you're not even in the game. But to win, to rise above the rest, that takes something different. That takes a level of obsession most people aren't willing to embrace. It takes looking at every tiny detail and making it better. It takes studying your failures like a scientist, learning from every mistake, and adjusting until there are no weaknesses left. It takes discipline so deep that you refuse to allow mediocrity in any area of your life. And this is where people get stuck, because mastery is slow, it's frustrating. It demands repetition, patience, and an unshakable commitment to improvement. Most people don't have the patience for it. They want results now. They want success to come fast. And when they don't see immediate progress, they give up. They switch to something else. They convince themselves that maybe they're just not cut out for it. But the ones who succeed, the ones who rise to the highest levels, they don't think like that. They don't chase quick wins. They chase mastery. They focus on getting 1% better every single day. And that's why, in the long run, they win. Think about the people who are the best in the world at what they do. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most respected artists, musicians, and performers. None of them got there by just working hard. They got there because they committed to mastery. They studied their craft relentlessly. They spent hours, days, years refining every tiny aspect of their skills. They weren't satisfied with being good. They weren't even satisfied with being great. They wanted to be the best, and they were willing to do whatever it took to make that happen. So the question is, how are you approaching your goals? Are you just putting in the effort and hoping for the best? Or are you fully committed to mastery? Are you obsessed with improvement? Are you willing to analyze, refine, and push yourself beyond what's comfortable? Are you willing to do the boring work, the repetitive practice, the tiny adjustments that no one sees but make all the difference? Because if you're not, then you're leaving your success up to chance. And that's not how champions operate. Champions don't hope. They don't wish. They don't rely on luck. They master. They sharpen. They execute. And here's the secret. When you commit to mastery, you separate yourself from 99% of people instantly. Because most people will never do this. Most people will always settle for good enough. Most people will always stop at effort, never pushing past the level where real success happens. But if you make the decision, if you tell yourself, I will not be average, I will not settle, I will master my craft, then you give yourself an advantage that no one can take away from you. Because skills can't be bought. Mastery can't be faked. Either you put in the work at the highest level, or you don't. And those who do will always rise above those who don't. It doesn't matter what field you're in. It doesn't matter what goal you're working toward. The principle is the same. Mastery wins. And it's not about being naturally talented. It's not about luck. It's about your willingness to refine your skills until there is no competition left. It's about your commitment to improving every single day, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. So decide right now, are you going to be someone who just works hard, or are you going to be someone who masters? Because effort will get you started, but mastery will make you unstoppable. And the moment you commit to that, everything changes. Your mind is your greatest asset, or your biggest enemy. Train it well, and it will open doors you never thought possible. Leave it unchecked, and it will lock you in a prison of your own making. Now you have the blueprint. You know exactly how to reprogram your mind for success. You've learned how to take action without hesitation, how to turn hard work into your default setting, how to use challenges as fuel, how to build habits that stick, and how to cut out anything or anyone that slows you down. These aren't just ideas. They are the foundation of a successful life. But here's the truth. Knowing isn't enough. You have to do the work. You have to apply what you've learned. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who just watch motivational videos and feel good for a moment. They are the ones who take that feeling and turn it into action. They are the ones who commit, who push through, who refuse to let old habits win. So what will you do now? Will you go back to your old patterns, letting fear, doubt, and distractions take control? Or will you step up and take charge of your mind, your actions, and your future? The choice is yours. But I'll tell you this, once you truly decide that success is the only option, once you make up your mind that you will not stop, not settle, not give up, everything will begin to change. And one day you'll look back and realize that the moment you took control of your mindset was the moment your entire life started to shift. So go, do the work, train your mind, build the habits, cut the excuses, stay focused. Because if you commit to this process, if you refuse to quit, success will not just be a possibility, it will be inevitable.